Hello friend, most of my stories are heard, not subscribed to the channel. To that, be kind, subscribe at once, and also note the reminder so that you don't miss a new story. Your support is more valuable to me. Good health to you. Have a good day. And now, a new story. My partner, Lisa, and I had been together for a decade. We had our fair share of highs and lows, but I believe we were happy. However, everything changed a few months ago when I discovered that she was cheating on me with a guy named Tyler from work. One day, while using her laptop, I noticed a notification from Tyler on her Facebook Messenger. After reading their conversation, I was heartbroken and furious. I knew I had to do something about it, but I didn't want to act impulsively. I remembered my friend's advice when he went through something similar. He said he would have planned and executed something significant to bring it all down. So I decided to take my time and think of a calculated revenge that would not only hurt them, but also help me heal. I didn't want to feel like I missed out on anything after everything was over. After days of contemplating and strategizing, I reached out to Tyler's girlfriend, Emily, and asked if we could talk. I thought she deserved to know about Tyler's infidelity, and perhaps together, we could teach them a lesson. To my surprise, Emily was not angry. She wanted revenge as well. We brainstormed and came up with an idea to hurt them both in a unique and devastating way. Our plan was simple. We would pretend to cheat on them. We would arrange a date and ensure they saw us together, so they would know how it feels to be betrayed and humiliated. Emily and I talked every day and kept a lookout for a chance when they would sneak around. One Friday evening, Lisa told me she was going out for dinner with a friend and then shopping. I played along, knowing where she was really going. Tyler said he and the guys were going axe throwing. Emily and I were aware of the real plan, so we decided to dress up and look fabulous. We wanted to make them regret ever cheating on us. When we arrived at the bar, we spotted them in a cozy corner, laughing and flirting with each other. Emily and I walked over and sat at a table far enough to avoid suspicion but still visible to them. We ordered drinks and appetizers and started laughing and flirting with each other. Eventually, they noticed us, and their expressions were priceless. They looked confused, shocked, and angry all at once. Emily told me they had noticed us and suggested we kiss. At first, I was hesitant, but I realized that it was the perfect way to hurt them. I gave her a long, passionate kiss, and I could see the shock on their faces. After about 15 minutes of enjoying their discomfort, Tyler finally came over to confront us. He tried to play it cool, but I could see the fear in his eyes. "What's going on here?" he demanded. I acted like we were old friends and said, "Oh hey Tyler, what a coincidence." Emily and I decided to have a night out. Tyler was clearly agitated, and Lisa looked like she had just seen a ghost. I could tell they were both trying to come up with an excuse or explanation for what they had just witnessed. Emily and I just sat there, calmly sipping our drinks and smiling at them, enjoying the moment. Tyler started getting defensive, accusing us of trying to make him and Lisa jealous. But we didn't back down. Emily spoke up and said, "You two don't have the right to be jealous. You gave up that right when you cheated on us." Lisa started to cry, and Tyler looked like he wanted to punch something. But we didn't care. We had accomplished what we set out to do. We had made them feel the pain that we had felt when we found out about their infidelity. After a few more tense moments, we decided to leave. Emily and I walked out of the bar, holding hands and laughing. It felt good to have someone who understood what I was going through and who was willing to help me get my revenge. Over the next few weeks, Lisa and Tyler tried to contact us, apologizing and begging for forgiveness. But we didn't respond. We had moved on and were happy to be rid of them. After that night, Lisa and Tyler broke up. Lisa tried to apologize and get back with me, but I knew I couldn't trust her anymore. The pain of the betrayal was too deep, and I knew it would take me a long time to forgive her. Emily and I remained good friends and even started dating a few months later. We realized that our plan had brought us closer and helped us heal from our past relationships. However, our actions that night had consequences. Lisa spread rumors about me, saying that I cheated on her and ruined their relationship. Some of our mutual friends believed her lies and started to distance themselves from me. It was a tough time, but I knew that I had to be honest with myself and those around me. I couldn't let her false accusations define me. Months passed, and I started to rebuild my life. I focused on my career and started working out regularly. I met new people and made new friends who supported me and saw me for who I am. It was a fresh start, and I was grateful for the lesson that I learned from my experience. Looking back, I realized that revenge was not the answer to my problems. It only brought temporary satisfaction and caused more pain and drama in my life. However, I don't regret what I did because it allowed me to move on and find a new perspective on life. I learned that forgiveness and honesty are the best ways to heal and move forward. In conclusion, betrayal is a painful experience that can cause immense emotional distress. It is essential to take time to heal and process the feelings that come with it. Revenge may seem like a tempting option, but it only brings temporary relief and causes more pain in the long run. It is crucial to take the high road and focus on healing and forgiveness. It may not be easy, but it is the best way to move forward and find closure. Sarah and Jack lived in the bustling city of New York. They had met at a finance firm where they both worked in different departments. Sarah was in charge of marketing strategies, while Jack was a financial analyst. It was at a work function that they first crossed paths. Sarah had just started her job, and Jack was impressed with her intelligence and beauty. They struck up a conversation about their favorite books, and from there, their love story began. They continued to work hard and climb the corporate ladder while also building a life together. Despite the fast-paced and stressful environment, they managed to keep their relationship strong and happy. They had an 8-year-old daughter. Sarah and Jack were both busy people, juggling their responsibilities at work with taking care of their daughter. Despite their busy lives, Jack always made time for Sarah and treated her like royalty, even when she didn't do the same. However, around the beginning of 2022, Sarah became familiar with one of her coworkers named Alex. Alex was about her age, had a wife and 3 kids of his own. Sarah and Alex started spending more time together. It started innocently enough, with them going out to work outings together and sitting close by and talking. Soon, Sarah started sitting in his lap, and they had some light touching, but nothing too severe. There was a passion in Alex's eyes that drew Sarah close to him, and eventually, they started sleeping together. Sarah knew it was wrong, but she pushed through, never once thinking about the impact it could have on Jack. One morning, while Jack was taking a shower, Sarah decided to add some things to their shopping list on his phone. She knew Jack's iPhone lock code, so she went into the Notes app to add what she wanted. But when she opened the app, it opened to a folder with dates listed on it. Curious, Sarah opened one of the dates, and to her shock, it was a diary. Jack had never struck her as the type of person to write out his thoughts and emotions. As she read through the first couple of entries, Sarah's heart broke. The diary was all about her infidelity and how Jack was processing it. Looking at the dates that were listed, he had discovered Sarah's affair about a month after it became physical. Sarah quickly locked Jack's phone and hid it. When Jack came out of the shower, she helped him look for the phone. Jack was on a time crunch and left the house with only his work phone. Sarah called off work and read each diary entry. She felt like she may vomit. Almost each entry for the first 3 months after Jack discovered her affair were about how he planned on making her fall in love with him again. He had detailed in the diary the plans he had to make her forget about Alex. He talked about taking them on a week-long vacation so she couldn't see him, how he bought her favorite flowers and cooked her favorite dish. But Sarah continued to see Alex, and as time went on, and she continued to lie to Jack, he would write in the diary about how his resolve was beginning to waver, how he was becoming depressed and felt so lonely and unloved. After 3 months, the diary entries became wholly about his depression and how he cried every time he knew Sarah was with Alex. He wrote how every night before falling asleep, he had visuals of Alex's body on top of hers, and how the visuals made him feel physically ill. He kept writing in his diary how he didn't want their daughter to grow up with divorced parents like he did. There was a diary entry from 1 month ago that stopped Sarah in her tracks. In the entry, Jack talked about how one night, when Sarah was with Alex and he put their daughter to bed, he was crying to himself like usual, but the tears stopped flowing. He said that his body finally stopped producing tears for his failed marriage. He said this was the scariest moment of his life, because he realized that he didn't know how to fix things anymore. Sarah sat there, tears streaming down her face, as she realized the full extent of the damage she had done to her marriage. She knew she had to come clean to Jack and beg for his forgiveness. But she also knew that it wouldn't be easy to regain his trust, and it would take a lot of hard work and effort on her part. With a heavy heart, Sarah made the decision to end things with Alex and focus on repairing her marriage with Jack. She knew it wouldn't be an easy road, but she was willing to do whatever it took to make things right again. The next day, Sarah sat down with Jack and showed him the diary. She was honest about everything and begged for his forgiveness. Jack was hurt and angry, but he also saw how remorseful Sarah was. After a long and emotional conversation, they both agreed to work on their marriage and try to move forward together. Over the next few months, Sarah and Jack went to couples therapy, worked on their communication, and took steps to rebuild their trust. It wasn't easy, and there were many ups and downs along the way, but they both knew that their love was worth fighting for. Years later, Sarah and Jack looked back on that dark time in their lives and were grateful for the lessons they had learned. They had come out stronger on the other side, with a deeper understanding of each other and a stronger bond than ever before. And they knew that no matter what challenges came their way, they would face them together as a team. Ethan and Mia, who met in college and fell madly in love. They were from different backgrounds, with Ethan being a star athlete and Mia studying to become a doctor. Despite their differences, they were inseparable and shared a dream of a happy future together. However, their love story took a sharp turn when Ethan was falsely accused of a crime he didn't commit and sentenced to 10 years in prison. Mia was devastated and felt powerless to help him. She tried everything in her power to prove his innocence, but the evidence was stacked against him. Over the years, Mia visited Ethan in prison regularly, and their love only grew stronger. Ethan refused to give up hope and used his time in prison to educate himself and learn everything he could about the law. He never lost faith that he would be exonerated and reunited with Mia. Mia, on the other hand, became a successful doctor and used her knowledge to help those in need. She dedicated her life to her career, but deep down, she knew that something was missing. She missed Ethan terribly and longed for the day when they could be together again. One day, Mia received a call from Ethan's lawyer, who informed her that they had found new evidence that could exonerate Ethan. Mia was overjoyed and immediately set to work to get Ethan out of prison. She spent countless hours poring over legal documents and working with Ethan's lawyer to build a strong case. However, things took a dark turn when Mia discovered that the person who had framed Ethan was none other than her own brother. Mia was devastated and torn between her love for Ethan and her loyalty to her family. She struggled to come to terms with the truth and the betrayal. As Mia worked to expose her brother's criminal activities and clear Ethan's name, she knew that she was putting herself in danger. She had to be careful not to alert her brother's organization to her plan. She recruited a few trusted friends to help her, and together, they devised a risky plan to expose the criminals. The day of the showdown arrived, and Mia and her friends nervously waited for the police to arrive. They knew that their plan was risky, but they were determined to free Ethan and bring her brother to justice. Suddenly, they heard a loud knock at the door. It was the police, but they weren't alone. Ethan was standing beside them, a free man at last. The new evidence had been enough to convince the judge of Ethan's innocence, and he had been released just in time to join Mia and her friends in their fight against her brother's organization. The police received a tip about the location of the criminals and decided to launch a raid. The police arrived at the location and immediately surrounded the building, calling on the criminals to surrender. However, the gang members, armed with guns, refused to give up without a fight. The police then decided to storm the building. The officers used flashbangs and tear gas to disorient the criminals, and the two sides engaged in a fierce gun battle. Eventually, the police were able to subdue the criminals and make several arrests, including Mia's brother. In the end, Ethan and Mia were finally free to be together, and their love only grew stronger after everything they had been through. They knew that they had each other's backs no matter what, and that was all that mattered. After Ethan's release, he and Mia moved to a new city to start a new life together. Ethan got a job at a law firm, where he used his experience and knowledge to help people who had been wrongfully accused, just like he had been. Mia, on the other hand, continued to work as a doctor, but also began volunteering at a local women's shelter. She had seen firsthand how domestic abuse could tear families apart, and she wanted to do her part to help those in need. As their relationship blossomed, Ethan proposed to Mia, and she said yes without hesitation. They planned a beautiful wedding, but as the day drew near, Mia's brother was released from prison and tried to make amends with her. Mia was torn between her love for her brother and her loyalty to Ethan. She didn't want to cut ties with her brother completely, but she also knew that Ethan was the love of her life, and she didn't want anything to jeopardize their relationship. In the end, Mia decided to invite her brother to the wedding, but she made it clear that if he ever stepped out of line, she would cut him out of her life for good. The wedding day arrived, and Mia and Ethan exchanged their vows in front of their family and friends. It was a beautiful ceremony, and everyone was happy to see the two of them finally united in marriage. As the night wore on, Mia's brother seemed to be enjoying himself and even apologized to Ethan for what he had done. Ethan accepted the apology, and Mia was relieved that her brother had finally taken responsibility for his actions. But as the night drew to a close, Mia's brother had too much to drink and started causing the scene. He began insulting Ethan and Mia, and when Ethan tried to calm him down, he punched him in the face. The police were called, and Mia's brother was arrested for assault. Mia was heartbroken, but she knew that she had made the right decision in standing by Ethan's side. As they left the wedding, hand in hand, Mia realized that their love had been tested in ways that most couples could never imagine. But despite all the obstacles they had faced, they had come out stronger on the other side. Their love had endured through betrayal, danger, and even family drama. And as they looked forward to the future, they knew that they could face anything together, as long as they had each other. Alice and Ben had been in a committed relationship for 3 years, and their bond had been intense. They had even come close to buying a house together, which spoke volumes about the level of their commitment. However, things were not going smoothly in the bedroom department. Alice was struggling with anxiety and stress, which was making her feel trapped in the relationship. As a result, she started flirting with someone at work, Maximilian, and what began as innocent flirting soon became an addiction for her. The thrill of being desired by someone other than Ben was intoxicating, and Alice couldn't resist the temptation. As time went on, Alice became increasingly aware of her dwindling interest in her relationship with Ben. She felt suffocated and constrained, and her attraction towards Maximilian was only growing stronger with each passing day. Alice's desire to rekindle her passion with Ben led her to suggest an open relationship, which she hoped would spice things up between them. However, Ben was not keen on the idea, which left Alice feeling disappointed and helpless. Things took a dramatic turn when Alice's flirting with Maximilian resulted in them getting physically intimate. But the experience left Alice feeling hollow and guilty. She realized that she had made a terrible mistake, and the only person she could think of was Ben. On her way home, she received a text from Ben, which shattered her world. He had seen all her messages with Maximilian, and he had moved out. Alice was devastated and regretted her actions deeply. Alice was in a state of emotional turmoil. She was unsure of what to do, and whether she even deserved a chance to make things right with Ben. She wanted to tell him how sorry she was, how much she loved him, and how she was willing to quit her job and everything that reminded her of the mistake she had made. However, Alice knew that following Ben and forcing him to talk to her was not the solution. She had to respect his space and let him make his own decision. Alice was in a constant battle with herself, wondering if she was being cruel by wanting Ben back or if it was kinder to let him go. She knew that she had messed up badly and was willing to face the consequences of her actions. She understood that her pain was nothing compared to what Ben was going through, and the best thing she could do was own up to her mistakes. Alice knew that telling Ben the truth was the right thing to do, even if it meant that she might not get back with him. She believed that he deserved to know what happened and then decide for himself. Alice's internal struggle continued as she grappled with the guilt and shame of her actions. She couldn't help but feel like she had ruined the best thing in her life, and her anxiety only worsened. She couldn't eat or sleep properly, and her work performance suffered. Alice knew that she had made a terrible mistake, but she was determined to make things right. Days turned into weeks, and Alice hadn't heard from Ben. She knew that he needed space, but the uncertainty of their relationship was taking a toll on her. She missed him terribly and longed to see him again. Alice spent most of her days in bed, replaying every conversation and interaction she had with Ben, trying to find any sign of hope. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Ben contacted Alice. He agreed to meet with her, but Alice was terrified of what he might say. She didn't know if she was ready to face him, but she knew that she had to try. When they met, Alice poured her heart out, confessing everything that had happened with Fabio and how sorry she was. Ben listened quietly, and when Alice finished, he took a deep breath and spoke. Ben was hurt and betrayed, but he appreciated Alice's honesty. He told her that he needed time to process everything, and that he wasn't sure if he could forgive her. Alice felt like she had been hit by a truck. She knew that she had hurt Ben deeply, but the thought of losing him forever was unbearable. Days turned into weeks, and Alice waited anxiously for Ben's decision. Finally, one day, Ben contacted her and asked to meet again. Alice's heart was pounding as she made her way to their meeting place. When she saw Ben, he looked serious but composed. Ben told Alice that he had thought long and hard about their relationship and that he wanted to try to make things work. Alice was overjoyed and relieved beyond words. She knew that she had a lot of work to do to regain Ben's trust, but she was willing to do whatever it took. In the end, Alice and Ben managed to repair their relationship, but it was a long and difficult journey. Alice learned the hard way that trust is fragile and that actions have consequences. She was grateful for the chance to make things right, and she never took their relationship for granted again. In the city of Chicago, there lived a young couple named Jack and Emily. They were deeply in love and had been together for 3 years. Jack was a successful stockbroker, and Emily was a nurse at the local hospital. Despite their busy schedules, they made time for each other and had plans to get married in the near future. However, their perfect world was about to be shattered. One day, Jack received a call from his boss, informing him that he had lost a significant amount of money in the stock market. Jack was devastated and realized that he was now in deep financial trouble. He was afraid to tell Emily, as he didn't want to burden her with his problems. Meanwhile, Emily was having problems of her own at the hospital. She had discovered that her colleague, Dr. Anderson, was cheating on his wife with one of the nurses. Emily was torn between reporting the affair and keeping it a secret to avoid causing trouble. Her dilemma only added to the stress she was already experiencing from working long hours at the hospital. As Jack's financial situation worsened, he began to feel desperate. He decided to take out a large loan to try and recoup his losses, but he didn't tell Emily about it. Instead, he tried to keep up the appearance that everything was fine, but Emily could sense that something was wrong. One night, after a particularly long day at work, Emily came home to find Jack packing a bag. When she asked him what was going on, he finally revealed the truth about his financial problems and the loan. Emily was shocked and hurt that he had kept such a big secret from her, but she tried to be understanding and supportive. The next day, Emily was approached by Dr. Anderson, who tried to bribe her into keeping quiet about his affair. Emily was disgusted by his behavior and refused to take the money. However, she realized that she could use the situation to her advantage. She decided to secretly record Dr. Anderson confessing to his affair and use it as leverage to get a promotion at the hospital. Meanwhile, Jack's financial situation continued to spiral out of control. He began to drink heavily and gamble, trying to win back the money he had lost. He even considered doing something illegal to get the cash he needed. One night, Jack stumbled upon a group of criminals who were planning a heist. Desperate for money, Jack joined the group and helped them plan and execute the robbery. The heist was successful, but Jack was caught by the police and sent to jail. Emily was devastated when she heard about Jack's arrest. She tried to visit him in prison, but Jack refused to see her. Emily was heartbroken, but she knew that she had to move on with her life. She used the recording she had made to get the promotion she had been working for, and she even managed to buy a small apartment. Despite everything that had happened, Emily couldn't forget about Jack. She continued to write to him in jail, and after a year of separation, Jack finally agreed to see her. They talked for hours, and Jack apologized for everything he had put Emily through. Emily forgave him, and they decided to start over. When Jack was released from prison, he and Emily got married and moved into their new apartment. They were both determined to put their past behind them and build a better future together. They knew that they would face challenges along the way, but they were ready to face them together.